Dr. Raymond Carhart proved pain plus dizziness equals silent neurological condition no one sees. Do you wake up in the middle of the night with a dull ear pain that seems to come from nowhere? Do you feel unexplained dizziness that appears out of nowhere and disappears like ghosts? What if I told you that these two seemingly disconnected symptoms could be revealing a silent neurological condition that is affecting millions of Americans right now, but that very few doctors can correctly identify? Dr. Raymond Carhart, the father of modern audiology, dedicated his life between 1945 and 1975 to unraveling exactly this hidden connection. His revolutionary studies at Northwestern University revealed something that forever changed our understanding of the auditory and neurological system. Keep watching, because what you're about to discover could explain symptoms you've been facing for years without answers. Auditory neuropathy is a neurological condition where sound reaches the inner ear perfectly, but the transmission of nerve signals to the brain is compromised. Imagine a telephone system where you can hear the person on the other side, but the words arrive scrambled, distorted, as if they were passing through a broken filter. This is exactly the experience of those living with this silent condition. Dr. Raymond Carhart was the first researcher to systematically document this disconnection between normal peripheral hearing and compromised neural processing. His initial research with World War II veterans at Northwestern University revealed that many soldiers returning from battlefields showed a very specific pattern, apparently normal hearing in conventional tests, but severe difficulties processing speech in noisy environments, accompanied by intermittent ear pain and episodes of dizziness. The diagnostic method developed by Dr. Carhart involved a battery of specialized tests that evaluated not only the ability to hear pure sounds, but the nervous system's ability to process complex auditory information. He discovered that auditory neuropathy frequently manifested through a specific symptomatic triad: compromised auditory processing, intermittent neuralgic pain, and vestibular disturbances. The preparation for his tests required a clinically controlled environment, with perfect acoustic isolation and precision equipment that measured neural responses in microseconds. What Dr. Carhart discovered in those pioneering studies was absolutely revolutionary, and still today remains one of the best-kept secrets of modern medicine. In 1962, Dr. Raymond Carhart documented the case of a factory worker from Detroit, James Morrison, 43 years old, who had worked for 22 consecutive years on an automobile production line. Morrison arrived at the Northwestern University clinic reporting a set of symptoms he had gradually developed over 3 years. Initially, Morrison noticed he was beginning to have difficulty understanding conversations when there was background noise, even if low. "Doctor, I hear people talking, but it's like they're talking through water," were his exact words recorded in Dr. Carhart's files. At the same time, he began experiencing episodes of sharp pain in his right ear, always at the end of the workday, a pain he described as electric stabs that lasted a few seconds and then disappeared completely. Most intriguing was that Morrison also developed episodes of dizziness that followed no logical pattern. Sometimes they happened in the morning when getting out of bed, other times in the middle of the afternoon without any apparent trigger. Morrison's conventional hearing tests showed completely normal hearing for his age. But Dr. Carhart's specialized tests revealed something extraordinary. Morrison's auditory nerves were transmitting information inconsistently and fragmentarily to the cerebral cortex. Have you ever stopped to pay real attention to how your body feels when you read in a quiet environment? When was the last time you could sit in complete silence without hearing some type of ringing, pressure, or discomfort in your ears? If you're constantly adjusting the television volume, asking people to repeat what they said, or feel like words reach you scrambled in environments with several people talking, you may be manifesting the first signs of this neurological condition. Now answer me mentally. Have you ever felt that strange dizziness that appears out of nowhere and disappears in a few seconds, as if your brain had failed for a moment? Have you ever woken up with ear pain that has no apparent explanation? A pain that seems to come from inside your head and not from the ear itself? These signs that you may be ignoring as things of age or stress may actually be your nervous system trying to communicate that something very specific is happening with the processing of auditory information in your brain. Here's where the situation becomes really concerning. When these initial signs are ignored, auditory neuropathy doesn't remain static. It progresses silently and relentlessly, affecting not only your ability to process sounds, but also your physical and cognitive stability. Dr. Margaret Westerberg from the University of Gothenburg documented in 2016 cases of patients who developed undiagnosed auditory neuropathy for prolonged periods. The pattern was frighteningly consistent. Progressive social isolation due to communication difficulties, increased mental fatigue due to the extra effort needed to process auditory information, and development of chronic anxiety related to unpredictable episodes of dizziness and pain. The most impactful case documented by Dr. Westerberg was that of Linda Patterson, a nurse from Cincinnati, 57 years old, who had worked in ICU for 32 years. Patterson began noticing difficulties distinguishing different alarms from medical equipment, something that had always been automatic for her. It was as if all the alarms had become the same, a sound blur that left me confused and anxious, she described. Over 18 months, Patterson developed episodes of dizziness during night shifts that forced her to lean on walls and equipment. The ear pain intensified, radiating to the temporal region and causing headaches she had never experienced. The correct diagnosis only came after she had requested medical leave, at which point auditory neuropathy had already significantly compromised her professional and personal quality of life. If you've gotten this far, pay close attention now, because what I'm about to share could be the key to recovering not only your hearing, but your confidence and quality of life. Dr. Samuel Kim, neuro-otologist at Johns Hopkins Hospital, published in 2021, a revolutionary study on neurological rehabilitation protocols specific to auditory neuropathy. Dr. Kim documented cases of significant functional recovery in patients who followed an integrated protocol of controlled neural stimulation, sound exposure modification, and specific nutritional supplementation for neural regeneration. The most impressive case was that of Robert Chun, a retired commercial pilot, 64 years old, who had developed auditory neuropathy after 38 years of exposure to airplane turbine noise. When I arrived at Dr. Kim's office, I could no longer follow conversations in restaurants and had episodes of dizziness that prevented me from driving, Chun reported. Dr. Kim implemented a specific protocol that involved computerized auditory training sessions 3 times a week, specialized vestibular exercises performed daily for 15 minutes, and a nutritional regimen focused on neuroprotective compounds such as alpha-lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10, and magnesium glycinate in specific therapeutic dosages. After 12 weeks of rigorous protocol, Chun reported 85% improvement in auditory, discrimination capacity in noisy environments, and complete elimination of dizziness episodes. It was as if my brain had relearned to process sounds clearly again, were his exact words recorded in Dr. Kim's study. The protocol developed by Dr. Kim involves 3 distinct and progressive phases. The first phase consists of neural recalibration through gradual auditory discrimination exercises, starting with pure tone differentiation and progressing to speech recognition and controlled noise. The second phase integrates vestibular stimulation through specific balance and coordination exercises that strengthen the connection between auditory system and postural control system. The third phase involves consolidation through complex auditory challenges that simulate real communication situations. The most significant discovery of this approach is that auditory neuropathy can be effectively treated when identified early and approached systematically. The auditory nervous system possesses remarkable plasticity that allows reorganization, and functional recovery even after years of progressive compromise. This condition doesn't just affect your ability to hear clearly. Auditory neuropathy has ramifications that extend to virtually all aspects of cognitive and physical function. When your brain can't efficiently process auditory information, it compensates by redirecting cognitive resources that would normally be used for memory, attention, and decision-making. Dr. Lisa Cunningham from the National Institute on Deafness and Other Communication Disorders identified that patients with auditory neuropathy frequently develop what she calls compensatory cognitive fatigue. This means your brain is constantly working in overdrive just to process basic auditory information, leaving less mental energy available for other functions. Additionally, the connection between the auditory system and vestibular system means that auditory neural processing problems frequently manifest as physical instability, coordination difficulties, and even concentration problems that can be mistakenly attributed to normal aging or stress. Can you imagine what it would be like to wake up in the morning and feel that your mind is clear and focused? What would it be like to participate in group conversations without feeling mentally exhausted? What would it be like to walk with total confidence in your balance, knowing that your body is functioning like a perfectly calibrated machine? The auditory nervous system, when functioning optimally, not only processes sounds, but also integrates spatial, temporal, and emotional information that contributes to your overall sense of well-being and control over your environment. It's fundamental to understand that auditory neurological rehabilitation protocols require qualified professional supervision, especially in the initial phases. Neuro-otologists, audiologists specialized in neuropathy, and vestibular physical therapists are the most indicated professionals to implement these approaches safely and effectively. Patients with a history of cardiovascular problems, uncontrolled diabetes, or use of ototoxic medications should have even more rigorous medical monitoring, as these conditions can interfere with neural regeneration capacity. Additionally, it's important to recognize that not all cases of auditory neuropathy respond equally to rehabilitation protocols, and some situations may require additional medical or technological interventions. The key is to approach this condition with adequate knowledge, realistic expectations, and consistent commitment to the established protocol. Auditory neuropathy is a serious condition that deserves the same respect and attention as any other neurological condition, and should never be treated as something trivial or that can be solved with simplistic solutions. The pioneering work of Dr. Raymond Carhart established the scientific foundations that still today guide our understanding of auditory neuropathy. His tireless dedication to research in the formative years of modern audiology created a legacy of knowledge that continues to save lives and restore quality of life for millions of people. Auditory neuropathy represents a perfect example of how complex neurological conditions can manifest through apparently simple symptoms, but which in reality indicate very sophisticated processes happening in our central nervous system. As our understanding of this condition continues to evolve, new possibilities for treatment and prevention continue to emerge. The future of auditory neurological rehabilitation will likely include even more advanced neural stimulation technologies, personalized protocols based on individual genetic profiles, and integration with regenerative medicine approaches that can restore neural function in ways we are just beginning to imagine today. Your hearing and balance are windows to the general health of your nervous system. When you properly care for these systems, you're investing not only in your communication capacity, but in your independence, confidence, and quality of life for the coming decades. If you recognized your own symptoms in this description, if you felt that sensation of, finally someone understands what I'm going through, I want you to know that you're not alone and that real paths to recovery are available. Leave a comment sharing your experience with ear pain and dizziness, because your story could help other people recognize these important signs. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss the next videos where we'll explore specific auditory neurological recovery protocol and real cases of people who managed to reverse these silent conditions. The knowledge you just acquired is the first step to transforming your relationship with your own auditory and neurological health. Remember, your hearing is much more than just hearing sounds. It's your connection to the world, your communication tool, and your foundation for physical and mental balance. Care for it with the respect and attention it deserves.